right, let's go to Detroit, where Rick spent some time last week to see his brother and, of course, to see the Lions. And they were practicing joint practice with the Giants. And you sent out a tweet day one. Aiden Hutchinson was unblockable. You liked a lot of what you saw. Day two, you thought the Giants looked a little better in that practice than they played over the weekend. And some guys of note, Jahmyr Gibbs, 6 rushes, 19 yards. Didn't do a whole lot on the stat sheet, but the quickness obviously showed up there. He had 1 reception for 18 yards. Brian Branch, the very first play he was involved in, he absolutely blew up Cole Beasley. I mean, he came from the other side of the field, looked like a laser shot out of a cannon, looked nothing like the 4.6 guy that he timed at, looked like the guy that we saw on field at Alabama last year. And Jack Campbell, a lot of his athleticism flashed as well. I thought he could have gotten, he might need to get a little stronger at the point of attack, standing up next to some of these interior offensive linemen. Rick Shakes said no. He can talk about that. So let's talk about some of these Lions players and what you saw.
Yeah, just my impression on a couple of these guys. There's no question Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, is going to be a significant part of their offense. Even the plays that you saw in the game, for a smaller back, he has excellent vision in line, and he runs strong for a smaller back and didn't have any explosive plays. Made the great catch coming out for, like, I think 16 or 17-yard gain, caught the ball and got it upfield. During practice, they ran him from the slot on a kind of out and up route, like a wheel route. And he went up between 2 defenders and made the catch. And I had to look at, I thought it was a receiver. And I went up and looked and I just saw, oh no, that was Gibbs. But yeah, he's definitely going to help. Brian Branch will be their starting Nick, and talking to some people up there, he can play safety. And some think if he had to go out and play corner, he can definitely do that. But intelligent, play speed and time speed are 2 different things, because play speed, he looked like a 4.4 guy the way he came across the field.
Yep.
And he is tougher than
Nails.
Yeah.
By the way, before you yell at me, I was just checking my notes. It wasn't Jack. Jack Campbell actually had he shed a block from the left guard and made a play in the running back. So he was very stout at the point of attack, let me say. So let me take that back because I don't want you yelling at me about that. But continue about Brian Burns.
Yeah, so he'll get a lot of significant play time, and I think with Chauncey Gardner, that'll move Chauncey back to the safety position because of the way Branch is playing, and then Jack Campbell. One of the concerns was the defensive front versus the run last year, which they had to get better, and they do. I don't want to talk about some of these young guys. Remember Pasquale that came out of Kentucky?
Yeah, Josh out of Kentucky, yeah.
He's going to be a monster in the interior. Not only is a pass rusher, but he's had a great camp there. So I don't know.
Was he injured last year? Was that part of the issue?
Yeah, injured and young.
Yeah.
So
because he's a freak athlete from what I remember in Kentucky.
And plays with his hair on fire. So, and then I got yelled at on the Twitter thing because they were saying Hutchinson was going up against the backup tackle. And
is that Hutchinson's fault?
Yeah, no, apparently it is. But he's a good football player. He's going to be a double-digit sack guy. But Jack Campbell is one of the best rookie linebackers I've seen, stepping up, taking on blocks at the point, getting off the blocks and finding the ball carrier. You saw his range from sideline to sideline. Yeah. And he's a very good and coverage, better athlete than maybe people anticipated he would be. But he's going to be a solid addition to their defense, especially the front seven. And he's the one making all the calls right now, which is rookie on how intelligent he is. And then don't fall asleep, even though he didn't show up in the stat sheet much, as Sam Laporta. He's going to have
a drop.
He's going to have a big year. Looked very, very good in the combined practices that I watched. So
good. Yeah. And I don't want to hold that against him, but he had a chance for a big catch there early in the game, and it went through his hands. I'm sure he wasn't happy about that, but the athleticism is there. And as I look over my Jack Campbell notes, I even noted more than once, he showed the ability to shed interior offensive line blocks quickly and get to the running back in the hole to limit the gain. So I was thinking about another guy we'll talk about in a second.
You were talking about the guy from Dallas.
That's exactly who I was looking at. Former safety, by the way. But yeah, and the athleticism for Jack Campbell, fluid movements in space, start, stop, change direction, acceleration, shows ability to cover speedy running backs in the flat and stay with them. Those are all things that get your attention. So overall, you were impressed with the practices and the performances of the young players for Detroit in their games and practices with the Lions.
Yep. I still believe they're my favorites to win the NFC North, and get into that playoffs this year.
I want to make note of one player on the other team, rookie Deontay Banks, the cornerback, first-round pick, 24th overall out of Maryland. And again, coming into the season, he was sort of not high on folks' radar and then had a great campaign. He lined up opposite Jameson Williams for most of the times that Jameson was out there, and he got the best of Jameson. Now, Jameson dropped the ball deep on a deep over, but Deontay Banks was running stride for stride with him. That was 4.3 speed versus 4.3 speed. And he's big. He's physical. He is so smooth in his movements in and out of breaks on comebacks. I think, and I hadn't seen, but I had read that he struggled early in camp. I think you have to be extremely excited with what you saw against a wide receiver 1 caliber player when he's healthy.
Yeah, no, he stuck out of practice a little bit. If he plays man coverage and the way he can press, turn his hips, and run and mirror receivers out of their breaks, he's going to be very good for that defense. And got his hands on a few balls during practice, at least where I was at, and he's going to be a very, very nice addition to that Giants defense.
Lined up mostly outside, except for a couple times when Jameson was in the slot. He lined up there with him, but mostly he lined up on the right side. All right, we'll hit some